0 at the minute.
And we are live. Welcome everybody to Airsoft Nation Live. And people are already in the chat, so let's say hello to people who are in. So Miguel's here. Hi Miguel. Ben's in, and look, he's nice and early. Bodge, you should see the post there.
I can see a little thing from Ben. It's just appeared on top of your head, Graham. But
there we go.
I can't see a rolling feed. I didn't know if there was going to be a.
There maybe it may come through shortly. It's just starting to come through now.
Go. Yeah, Alex, two there.
There we go. Alex Lee, welcome. Now I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but for anyone joining the show who doesn't know, welcome Wayne, aka Bodgeups, to the live show.
Really? Oh, damn it! You said my name. I was about to do my best Novrich impression.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
So, welcome to the show, and guys, feel free to contribute and ask questions throughout the show. I'm sure it's going to be a really entertaining one. Unfortunately, there is no Carlo with us this week. He had lost his voice, and we was going to have someone else join the show, and I will do a shout out. Just so I'm sure he can hopefully comment later down the line. But House Gamers was going to join us today, but unfortunately he has other engagements he just realised. So I think... And
I'm looking in the lens for this. Dayton, what a letdown. Poor planning on your part. What a shame, sir.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it is a bit of a shame. I was quite happy when Graham said your name, but it just works out that way, doesn't it?
We were literally talking so on Friday, so about 4 days ago, and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great. Come on, and it's gonna be really good fun." Unfortunately, 30 minutes ago, he's got other engagements, which he was already 45 minutes late to. At that point, I think I'd just say, you know what, I'm writing it off, but apparently not.
You never know. He might decide to bail on his actual job and come along and join us at some point. You never know. Stranger things have happened.
Absolutely. If he does, he'll get the feed in there for sure. Finchy, welcome to the show. Thomas, welcome to the show. Alex, and another Alex Hassan is there. Pygmy's there, welcome. I think we're getting through that. The comments are coming through. Looking for anyone else. Not at the moment, although that is potentially something that may happen on the second half of the show. Jason, Longbow Jason, is in the stream. Welcome, Jason. So, I think it's time to really get started.
Yeah.
Where can we begin? This is going to be an interesting show for sure. Firstly, where are you?
Where am I?
You haven't got your leaf suit on.
No. You've caught me in my other kind of disguise, my regular office attire, which is, well, it's just normal, boring office wear, really. No, right now I am in a hotel, which is away from home, travelling away from, for work. And well, that's pretty much it, really. It's just a boring hotel room. There's nothing to show off, nothing interesting here. And, that's pretty much it, really.
And that was, one of the reasons at the time when you stopped a year ago. Presume it is the same job.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's very much the same job, very much the same company. I just got to a point where I had, well, putting it bluntly, I'd had enough of the YouTube side of this, whatever this is. Oh, hang on. I want to carry on talking, Graham, but I've just seen a comment come up on the top of your glasses.
On my head.
I can't see I can't see the rest of the chat as it's coming in. Is there any way I can see that?
I will bring up the questions throughout. Are you talking about the one from Stephen specifically?
Yeah. It was just that I spotted something from a guy called.
There we go.
Oh, blimey.
UK versus USA in May 2018.
Probably. I probably was, but then again, that's only because everybody else in the country is invited to the UK versus USA one, I guess, being because we're in the UK. So sorry, Stephen, I don't know about that.
Well, I will show you right now, just because I should give a big plug there to Steve with the UK versus USA game. So hopefully you can see that.
Yes, I can.
There we go. So 5 months, 20 days to go. It's the UK versus USA International Airsoft event held in Dog Tag. May, I want to say 23rd, is it?
Okay, cool. In fairness, even if I wasn't invited, I'd probably just gate crash because that site is 3 miles from where I live. So I would probably just walk along, creep in, and probably no one would spot me.
Well, guys, yeah, if you haven't already heard of the UK versus USA Airsoft game, definitely take a look at that. That is ukversususa.com. At the same time, you can grab yourself a nice UK versus USA patch, which I can very perfectly timed show you. Look at that.
Oh, lion versus eagle. That seems suitably appropriate, doesn't it?
Such a great patch, and I'm definitely looking forward to that in May.
Yeah, cool. And anyway, sorry, I was I got distracted by that comment that came in. I just got to a point where I'd had enough of the in fairness, the hard work really of putting the videos together. I mean, don't get me wrong in saying that it was great to do it while I was on the journey, while I was on the train ride, if you like. It was great to be part of, to have that experience to do it. And I know that it doesn't come up for everyone. Everyone runs a YouTube channel, don't they? I mean, almost, I would say, every other player who's into airsoft has probably got a camera of some kind, and they'll go and put their videos on somewhere. They'll put them on Facebook, they'll put them on a YouTube channel, and just because there's so many of them, I know it doesn't happen for a lot of people, but it did for me, and I'm not ungrateful. I'm really not ungrateful of that. But it was never something that I set out to actually do. It wasn't my goal. It wasn't what I intended when I started getting into it. Because so I moved away from the place where I'm originally from, from North London, and I ended up moving down to South London. And I thought, well, I've moved away from all my mates that I know from Airsoft, and I don't know when I'm going to be back up there, but I have got this camcorder. I've seen the videos that, of the people at the time who were making the videos. And I thought, well, let's just give it a go myself, So I started making a few. It turned into a bit of a hobby in itself because, I was doing a lot of traveling for work. It was something to do when I was in the hotel room. And and then eventually it just got to a point where 1 or 2 of the videos got picked up, got particularly popular, and things just went from there, really. I thought, well, blimey, okay, this has actually happened. Let's try and take advantage of it while it's here. And I guess in many ways it kind of ran its course. In the end, I ended up running that channel for, I think it was just over 3 years. Yeah. My attitude towards airsoft completely changed over that time. It got to a point where I wasn't playing at the very end of it. I wasn't playing airsoft. I felt like I was a mobile camera rig, and literally it was that. The camera on your head, camera on the barrel, camera on top of the scope.
Yeah.
And I spent more time faffing around thinking about camera angles and making sure that those twigs weren't in the way to get a good shot than I did actually enjoying and immersing myself in what the game was. And it got to a point where I thought, oh, this is such a shame in a way that actually happened. But I knew that I wanted to get back to the essence of what it was that I really enjoyed. And dare I say, that was just crawling around, being quiet on the floor, not doing an awful lot of moving, and just enjoying the experience instead of literally taking shot for shot, because that was much that responded better than a slower gameplay video.
Yeah, and I think this is something that Clean Shot said nicely 3 episodes ago, was that his gameplay is quite fast and he plays like that, but he knows that's what works for videos. Whereas your play style and a few other snipers out there, and many others no doubt, who prefer the longer stalkery game, the game where you're taking your shots and working on camouflage and all of that kind of bushcraft, obviously doesn't lend itself well to what is the current trend of interesting videos on YouTube. I mean, the kind of attention span
Oh, I was going to say, you mean the attention-seeking, clickbait-ready,
Yeah.
attention-grabbing
You've got
style
15
that is
seconds
current.
to get someone's
Yeah,
attention.
absolutely. You know, but then again, I mean, that is just. I'm not necessarily knocking that. That is
No.
just that's the nature of the beast. That is what the platform actually is. You know, you have got. I mean, what have you got? In my opinion, full disclaimer, my opinion, not an actual statement of fact or anything. You have to respond to what the audiences actually want. And the audience that I wanted to reach out to were people that were genuinely interested in airsoft.
Yeah.
Whereas the mass market are people who are just interested in the trigger happy, shooting everybody, and there you go. But this is the weird contradiction. This is the weird contradiction for me, right? Because it actually concerns me a little bit to think that most people nowadays might I don't want to really blow my own trumpet, right? But people might know the name Bodgeups because of those flipping headshot videos that I put together. You know, it's like that isn't what I actually wanted to begin with. I did it because I was actually approached by a guy who worked at the Lad Bible. It was quite an interesting thing to just notice appear in your inbox. So, hey, this guy from the Lad Bible wants to get in touch. Okay, let's have a look and see how big. Bloody hell, 11 million people following it. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, what can we do? And yeah, they wanted to share the headshot one. I was a bit concerned, and I thought, well, is it going to give the wrong image? Is it going to portray airsoft in the wrong light? Is it blah 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 blah? And then I just thought, whatever. Let's just get on with it and see what happens. Possibly irresponsible, but here we are a year later. The last time I looked, not the Lad Bible one, the one shared by Unilad, I think is now at something like 64 million views. The original one, yeah, it has been reshared by countless dozens of other pages. But getting back to the main point, all people I think know me for now is something I never wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not knocking anything that's happened. I just think it's interesting how it all played out. I certainly never thought that this is where it would be 3 years ago. Let's put it that way. So. And
the game itself has changed a lot in 3 years. I mean, you've been playing longer than that since we played at the first skirmish event together. So I know that.
Blimey, when did I start? It was 2005. I started playing. So I started playing Airsoft just before the VCRA started. And if there is anyone on the live stream that happens to be outside the UK, the VCRA is something that blimey, we shouldn't make this into politics, should we? We shouldn't turn this into politics.
Airsoftnation.co.uk/VCRA to read all 1,430 words all about it and how to acquire one. Suffice to say, yes, we both were playing around about the same time at that point. We cross paths without knowingly cross paths.
Yeah.
Back in, that would have been probably 2006, 2007.
Yeah, I know we've spoken about this, Graham, but you're gonna have to remind me where that was because
Skirmish Billericay.
That was it. Yes.
They went from Temple to Airsoft.
Yeah. That was an interesting day. That was.
But yes, and the guy that got his car broken into.
I got his car broken into. I had a grenade that was I think it was made out of a crow scarer or something like that, and it literally landed right behind me. And yeah, that was painful. That was painful to say the least. I remember someone else I was with that day. Another one of them landed on top of his gun, and the explosion actually dented the gearbox on this 249 that he had.
Wow.
But. Hey, I mean, isn't that what happens on opening days of sites? Teething troubles.
Yes.
Things get sorted out. I've not actually been back there since, but that's not because I didn't want to. I just never ended up going there again.
I will say that was my regular for a couple of years. I say regular Woodland. If not, there was a lot more CQB for me at the time.
Yeah.
But,
No. I've been. Well, I think I've always been a Woodland player. I know I've been sniping, so to speak, since I think I got into it like 2 years after I started. So now we're up to like a near enough solid 10 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, long old time. And 9 of those years have been with that VSR of mine. So yeah, that's certainly getting on a bit. It's nearly finished primary school now.
9 years with the same VSR.
Yeah, it's shown its wear and tear. Let's put it that way. The threads, blimey, the screws have completely stripped. So I've had to Dremel cut a line in them so I can use a screwdriver to get it undone. The outer barrel thread has been completely stripped, so it's like one screw holding it in place, and then it comes away. I've had the same upgrade parts in there I mean, I've swapped and changed an awful lot because I know that Paul from ASP UK, he sent me quite a few bits, and I used those for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I always ended up found myself going back to the original Lalax parts that I had in there, because I did spot quite early on at the beginning. Someone asked me what parts I had in my rifle. I know it's still on my channel somewhere, but I did actually make a video with a breakdown of everything that's inside that rifle, and I think that's still accurate to this day. So yeah, go ahead and watch that.
Yes, I'm going to say there it is there. Talking about your channel, obviously you don't update it anymore.
No.
But what I found quite interesting the other day, you've still grown 32,000 subscribers since you stopped.
I thought you were going to say something about my weight then, Graham, because I mean, I know it's late at night, but come on. Has it grown really that much? Yeah,
because you stopped at basically 100,000. That was kind of, at that point, you were like, right, I know I'm already going to stop now, but I'm going to get that play button, which I hope you've still got.
I do. It's not here. I thought it'd be a little bit egotistical if I actually put it in the car, strapped up in the seat so it doesn't get damaged, got pillows around it. And
That's it.
But no, I do look at that. I look at that quite fondly, actually.
Because it's a matter of achievement. Let's be fair.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me look at it and think, it's a nice visual reminder of what the journey was. Yeah. And I don't look back at that journey with any kind of negative lights at all. I know that I did end up, I crossed paths with a few people on occasion. I got into some interesting Facebook conversations with people, because of various shots taken at various sites and the way that I was portraying myself and the way that I would put myself across, but it's actually things like that led me down the path of thinking what it was that I wanted to get out of still playing the game anyway. I found myself turning into something that I didn't want to be, and that was that I became the person chasing the views, chasing the subscribers, trying to do what people wanted to see. I don't personally think I did that good of a job at it either, because there's you look at the guys now who are doing things. I mean, you mentioned Dayton earlier. I love what he's done with his channel. I think he's found a really, really good niche. He doesn't take himself too seriously. It's not actually, I mean, yes, of course he is like the main focus, if you like, but I do like the fact that he's part of he's got like a camaraderie of guys who are all there, part of the crew, if you like, and he does a lot more than just Airsoft videos as well. So he's kind of diversified a little bit, and I really like that. And I like his style and the approach to things.
I think also the industry at large are starting to see that you can be successful and funny and not take everything super seriously. It's not all about pretending and putting that kind of masquerade that you're the best player ever. It's about having fun. At the end of the day, we're all running around with realistic imitation of firearms, but at the same time, they are just toy guns. And having fun with it. And I think Dayton puts that across perfectly in all these videos, whether it is him sitting around talking about Tim Hortons coffee or him playing Trouble in Terrorist Town or any of those kind of little moments there. I think you're right. He's definitely taken the channel in a direction where, at least from what it looks like on the outside and the conversations we've had over time and when he came on the live show, he's having fun. And I think that it could have easily turned around the other way.
Mm-hmm. Because the moment you stop having fun, the moment I think you have to walk away from something, because given what I do as my proper job, if you like, I don't know if I'm the most creative of people, right? I did what I did because I found something that was quite good to do. I quite enjoyed doing it, and it got to a point where didn't. I don't know. I don't think I was dealing with the change very well, because I could see that the videos weren't that the videos weren't being received all that well. As it like the first ones came out, when it started to go really popular, right? It's like boom, there was your massive hit.
Yeah.
And then every video that came out after that, in my opinion, it felt like it started to go down and down, because it started to I felt like it was weeding out the people who saw it the first time and was like, yeah, great, there we are, moving on now. And every person that stayed were the more like hardcore dedicated people. So okay, for those of you who are here who did always watch all those videos of mine, thank you very much. It did genuinely mean something. It still does, but I don't know. There was so much effort that was going into all of it, and I didn't like the fact that I felt like I was being fake in some cases. You know, I felt like I was going beyond what I wanted to do. But there you go. There's actually, I can't believe a year's gone by already. A year has gone by, more than a year, in fact. I mean, the very last video that I published to my channel was from the 2016 Ground Zero event, and that was a very strange experience for me, actually, because I'd been going with my teammates. So, lads, Team Infidel, if any of you are here, hope you're listening. I'll check my phone. Hopefully, some of them are on. I bet I'll better send them a message, actually. Hang on a second. We'll do a voice note so that we're not ignoring everybody.
They are absolutely down, lads.
Get on the Airsoft Nation live stream, because I'm on it right now. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but yeah, it was kind of a last-minute secret thing. So hurry up and get on, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I've been going with those guys for the last couple of years, under the radar, if you like, and I loved it. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. Then, in the September of 2015, the channel went bang, and a whole year went by, and the channel went up by like 90,000 subscribers in that year. So going to that weekender was a very different experience. You know, I had people coming up to me, what felt like left, right, and centre, going, "Oh my God, look who it is! It's Bodgeups. Can I get a picture?" All that sort of stuff. And that was a really weird experience. But I didn't get to spend a lot of time with the guys who I always went with, and I really felt that. I really felt that afterwards. I didn't like it either. So this year, I was umming and ahhing about going, because I thought, I've quit. I don't know what it's going to be like. Do I want to deal with all of that? I didn't tell a soul. I didn't actually commit to buying the ticket until, like, I don't know, 3 weeks before. Just went with them, rocked up, didn't tell anyone. There were a couple of people who knew I was going along, which was cool. But yeah, it was great. I had a great time, you know, just camping, have a few drinks. Please don't share the. I was going to say, please don't share the live stream of me when I was drinking in the bar. Let's put it that way.
No.
But, yeah, but no. I mean, I'll tell you what. The really good thing. I know I can see you sharing one of the videos from that 2016 thing, and one of the really great things about that weekend was that I got to meet Ash. You know, the guy who's the hidden hedgehog.
Hidden hedgehog, yes.
Paintball sniper. I haven't actually spoken to him for a little while now, because I properly dropped off the radar. I didn't really stay in touch with anyone. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but it was really cool to meet another person who was in a comparable position, you know, making paintball themed sniper videos as opposed to airsoft. But, you know, that was his first or second ever airsoft event. He only had a stock VSR, you know, no upgrades in it at all, the standard 300 FPS spring. And for any of you who've actually been to the Ground Zero weekender, well, think about that. You're using a stock gun, which is a sniper rifle at that, you know. Yeah, I think he did really well for himself. I hope he enjoyed it. I really do. Yeah. So I've met quite a few people. Sorry, I missed that again. I've met I have met quite a few good people along the way. There we go. Yeah. And I haven't even got any booze in this orange juice.
Yeah. Ben, welcome to the show, mate. Good to see you back, and Steve and Mike. Just to answer a few questions that have just been coming through.
Yeah, I've probably rabbited on for way too long.
Well, it was just about. So as we were talking earlier about you kind of disappearing as such.
Mm.
It's fair to say you were still playing. Obviously, you probably did take a break after that.
Mm.
You still play. And
Yeah,
you still
I do
leave
still play. I think I had something like 4 months off. I had 4 months off after the weekender of 2016. You see, the thing is, right, when I started back in 2005, in airsoft terms, I grew up at a site called Tech Brigade, which is in Hertfordshire. Not that I'm plugging or anything, but I still really like the site. Hi guys, if any of you are there. And it was always a club site. You know, it was a guy who ran it basically on his own, no marshals. Had a core group of people who always came back, and it had a really nice, like, in some ways, family type feel to the place. And you know, as times change, things move on. I moved away. I started going to bigger sites. You lose that kind of more, I suppose, personal connection.
Yeah.
So after taking that 4 month break, the very first thing I did was I went back to one of the smaller club sites that I found that was closer to me, where I live now, and it was a night game, and it was great. There was only, I think there were 5 of us there. There were 5 people on a night game. I only used my Mark 23, and it was a really, really, really fun experience. But yeah, I took that break, and after that, I definitely didn't play as much as I used to. I would probably only play once every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. Whenever I felt like I wanted to go out and just do something, you know, I stopped all the travel. I only went to the site that was literally closest to me, Dog Tag Airsoft, which is where this UK versus USA thing is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I enjoy that place for a whole load of reasons. A, because it's close, and B, because if you want a skirmish, that's a great place to go for a skirmish. You know, it's like shoot 'em up, very well run, great marshals, great bunch of lads. They do good night games there as well. And that was, I don't know, it was just a great thing. But I really scaled it right back. I thought, no, do you know what? Let's just do this because I want to do this now. Do it for me instead of doing it for, no disrespect, everyone, doing it for you. I was doing it for me because I wanted to. I didn't want to alienate myself from the thing that I basically spent a decade investing time in.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. You're a player at the end of the day, and that's still number one, and that's what you should be out there enjoying.
Yeah.
But it's fair to say, obviously, we played together in October, against each other in October, which we can talk about in a little while, because it's definitely something that would be nice to talk about as to what you're involved with now.
Hang
Kevin,
on. It's on my chair.
Kevin, all the way from the US of A, is asking, maybe I missed this, but have you ever done CQB?
Yeah, I have done CQB a few times. I have even got, back in the archives, as it were, the old videos of mine. I recorded some red dot cam videos. So I took my at Red One, the school, which is near Watford. I think it's near Watford. It's kind of around like the north side of the M25. It's an old, as the name may suggest, an old abandoned school. And yeah, I had for a long time. I had a Tokyo Marui MP7, a gas MP7, which was absolutely. You know what? You put a 2 in it, and it does 320. Put a 4 in it, and you know what? It didn't dual creep at all. It only did 210, 220. But that was fun. That was fun to use. The hop units are so good on these little guns. It was really, really good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a very different style. Great playing with the guys that, like I said about, Team Infidel earlier on. It's great doing something that is very different to, it's always nice to do something different, isn't it? But yes, I've done CQB a few times. I've even sniped in CQB as well.
Yeah, as I say, South Coast, famously known for you to snipe there.
South Coast CQB, that was good fun. I was sitting on a bed. I was sitting in a bed in the officer's house, just poking the gun out the window and shooting. Oh no! In fact, I'll never forget. Ian, I know he's probably not here listening to this, but that was where the first or second time I went to South Coast CQB, I had the luck of whatever, the airsoft gods, right? The airsoft gods were certainly smiling on me that day, because I managed to get 2 I think two of my favourite shots of all time that I ever recorded. One was at the most. I mean, this is a terrible example, right? It was the most acute angle, right? Shooting into a building through a door gap, but the angle was so tight, the gap must have been no more than like an inch or 2 inches wide. And I managed to get the shot through, and I got this guy. 15 minutes later, I managed to shoot him under a car at distance, and it was the same guy. It was Ian, and yeah, Ian. He's a player in a group of guys called Unit 13, who, you know, they're a great bunch of guys and ladies. Run their own like community of. They run their own airsoft community. They've got lots of different pockets of people around the country. They go to lots of different sites, but they invited me to a game that they set up at the Sandpit. Rest in peace, all that. They invited me to that, and it was a fantastic themed experience of like the DEA versus the Mexican cartel or something. Yeah, that was a brilliant experience. That was where I screwed up my wrist.
And say that was the incident, wasn't it, where you had the accident?
Yeah. And do you know what the worst thing was? I did that an hour into the first day, and it was meant to be a 2-day event. So I really didn't like the fact I'd hurt myself so much, but it was great fun. It really was. Now, Graham, you're going to have to pull me back on track because I can't remember how I got into this subject. You've let me run wild. Yes, I did used to play CQB.
And obviously you were one of the first people, at least publicly, to talk about playing on the boat. Again, rest in peace.
Do you know what? I didn't even know that thing had closed down until about a week ago. What actually happened?
It's called sinking.
Well, it actually sunk.
Which is pretty much what was happening when you were playing on there, no doubt, because I know it was like that when I was on there.
Well, I mean, you know, it was... okay, so there might have been some minor tidal inlet around the upper deck area, but, you know, we weren't going to let that bother us. We were just going to have a great day shooting.
My friend threw a TRMR, and it just rolled, and someone picked it up, but he genuinely thought it just rolled straight off into the Thames.
No.
We had him going. He was looking over the edge of the barrier there, thinking he'd roll down. Yeah, it did sink, unfortunately, or at least the rear end was just going straight down there.
Oh, no. What a shame.
Yeah, good old sight. I've still got the scars to prove it. It's definitely the most painful experience ever to play in a T-shirt. Against my own teammates who we all privately hired.
Yeah,
I know you were one of the first people to play there, at least publicly.
Yeah, that was it. I think it was a very unique experience, you know. But yeah, I've done CQB a few times. Does the Sandpit count as CQB? Not really. It's like that weird kind of fusion site, isn't it? Where you've got
depends on where you are, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you're in the warehouse.
Elements of CQB, but you've got elements of woodland as well. Oh, it was just a great. I just saw a question come up from Moss. Any tips on how to start being an airsoft YouTuber? Buy more than one camera. Be personable. Don't put hit markers in the bloody video. Fuck me. I'm sorry, language. Be.
You're good.
Oh, don't. The hit markers. That was like a personal dilemma of mine for months and months and months. So in my personal opinion, Daniel, don't put hit markers in. But obviously if you want to do that because it's a popular thing, and try to have a narrative. Try not to just make it so it's all about the shooting. Try and make it interspersed. Try and watch it and think, if you were someone watching it, if you weren't you, would you sit down and watch it? It's like the toughest and the most generic thing in the world to say, I know. But I think it is the biggest.
Right there. Yeah, you're right there. You've got 10 seconds to get someone, not even 10 seconds nowadays on YouTube to get someone to get someone's interest.
Yeah.
Go in there with a quick intro of a couple of shots throughout the video, and then tell them a story. There's so many YouTubers out there, airsoft YouTubers, who, and especially snipers, that it's 10 minutes of just shooting to the point that people switch off after 3 minutes. If you can tell a story, keep them engaged, transition between narrative and the shots or the storyline. I think Ash, the Hidden Hedgehog, is it Hidden Hedgehog?
Yeah,
it's Little Channel, isn't it? Does this amazingly. He's obviously very skilled in his video production, But that's something to me that's always stood out with his. Obviously, a lot of it's edited after the game.
Yeah, but that was the stuff that made it unique.
Yeah,
That was the thing.
absolutely.
That was what made it actually stand out. And it depends on how far you want to go with it, really. You know, do you don't? I think what you should actually, what I would say is, don't underestimate how difficult it can actually be to make videos, because it is so easy to just have a GoPro on your head, walking around, filming what you're pointing at, and you know, that's it. You think, oh, that's great. I've just made an airsoft video. I'll put that on YouTube. But the problem with GoPros, of course, is that they've got wide angle lenses. So you can't see any, even with one that will record in 4K, right? The detail that you're going to get is so minuscule. It's like a tiny little portion of the screen. It doesn't make for, in my opinion, I never thought it made for enjoyable watching, which is one of the reasons why I always like the idea of scope cam videos, if you like, because it zoomed in, it gave you a bit more detail. I always wanted people I wanted to try and portray the real airsoft sniper experience. That was what I tried to do. Like, when I realized that people were starting to get, you know, to like it, I always thought that will try and be my angle, you know. And come up with a catchphrase as well. That's always a good thing, you know. As simple as it is, right? But Novrich, you know what he says at the beginning. Okay, look, everybody knows what he does. People mock him for it, but any publicity is good publicity. At the end of the day, you know, you cannot
love him or hate him. At least you know him.
Exactly. And you know, I do personally believe that a lot of people put controversial stuff out there just to get attention, and you know, get reactions from people, negative probably, but you can't fault them for it because it still gets the intended reaction. So I think it's a little bit, as a sideline now, it's a little bit like people who say, you know, vote with your money. You know, if a shop's bad, if they give bad service, don't whinge and moan about it, just don't shop there. You know, if you don't like a particular style of gameplay, or if you don't like a particular format, then just don't watch it. Don't comment, don't get involved, don't give likes when they don't need to be liked. Just leave it alone, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're not going to watch something you don't like, hopefully. And that's it. The numbers will tell the story there. So Mike's asking, do you think that every Airsoft YouTuber channel potentially has a point when it naturally comes to a style point?
So, absolutely. I absolutely do. Because, well, why do I believe that? Because...
Well, this is almost like your T with Bodgeups, doesn't it? You change things up because you want a different angle at times.
Yeah. You know, how far can you actually take it, though, at the end of the day? There's only so much you can do. You are a person walking around in a forest. You're a person walking around in a CQB area, and it is the game of Airsoft, right? It is, you know, it is, that game is what it is. It's a skirmish. Or, okay, it's a skirmish, it's a milsim. I've never been to a milsim, so I don't really want to talk about that too much because I don't have a perspective on it, right? But I can imagine that it's very story driven, it's objective based, it's longer periods, right? So it's a far different kind of immersion. So that is what that is. And I'm sure you can film that to that effect. But if you're a skirmisher, so to speak, then how far can you really take it? You know, you can get, you can make a headshots compilation. Blimey, you can make a hand shot compilation. You could make a body shot compilation. You know what? You can make a compilation of compilations. You could, you know.
I think it always comes with imagination, doesn't it? Because, like you say, if you were to just put every week a recording from your skirmish, you're not going to get very far. You are going to require some imagination. You're going to require different types of content, whether it is your top 10x, you know, 5 reasons why you do what, you know, your upgrade videos, or you know, anything like that. Change things up, find out what people are like. I mean, just look at Random Trashy. Not sure if you follow him, but he's been doing YouTube videos for gear reviews for Milsim kit primarily. Never wanting to step into the first person shooting scene.
Yeah, and I respect that because it keeps you different.
Absolutely.
It keeps you unique. And
but after a couple of years now, I mean, there's going to be huge changes, and he's on the show next week, so we'll be able to quiz him there. But he's re-changing from Random Trashy with a team of the group there. But one of the reasons, he's done 70% of the entire catalogue for one of the main manufacturers he was doing reviews for. And, like you say, there's only so much you can produce. It's not like a vest's a vest. You may have different brands, different colours, but it's still that at the end of the day. They serve the same purpose.
Yeah.
You do need to definitely think about changing things.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I think it's also, so this is back to Mike with his question. It's a very subjective thing, because if you personally enjoy making that kind of video and if that's all you wanted to make and that's what you really enjoyed, then make it till the cows come home. Carry on doing it. So long as you personally enjoy it, then that's what you want. If that's what you want to do, then do it. But if you don't feel like it's right for you, if you feel like something's wrong, then don't do it. Because if you forget who you are in the midst of the social media melee, then where are you? And that's what I felt like was happening to me. So that's why I called time on it.
Yeah, there's definitely different ways you can go about it, isn't there? And I do think be true to yourself. Make something that you're enjoying, because otherwise you'll just burn out. I mean, Airsoft Nation, 2 years in October it's been. 2 years of work. It's very easy to get burnt out if you weren't enjoying it, and that's why I'm still here. I love it. So Adam's asking, did you record every game, I should say, rather than do you?
Did I record every game? Yes.
Yes.
I did. I did record pretty much every single game for, blimey, it must have been, over the 3 years I was making videos, I must have recorded almost every single game.
So there's a few hard ones there then.
Yeah, not that I've got the source videos anymore. I've still got the memory cards from like the last few months before I quit, and they're just sitting in the drawer at home. I've got to deal with those actually, but yeah, I recorded an awful lot. I've got footage. I've got interesting. I've probably got enough footage to make probably another 10 videos or so. Will I ever make them? Don't know. I really don't. But hey, who knows? Who knows?
I'm sure you could use some.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Max is asking, did you have any upgrades for your Mark 23? You do now, right?
No.
Is it still stock?
Hang on, let me think. It's the stock barrel. Oh, I tried putting. No, haven't got that. Haven't got that because I haven't got that because I've got my own bodge on it. Yeah. My upgrade, not that I'm playing on the name or anything, but yeah, my upgrades were literally bodges in the VSR as well. My hop arm in both the VSR and the Mark 23 are just biro mods.
Yep.
So, like, you take the inner tube out of a ballpoint pen, you cut it into a sliver, and then you super glue it to the hop arm, the bit that obviously presses on the hop rubber, and that just, it worked for me.
I pretty much use the biro mod on every AEG I've had. It's pretty much been my go-to.
Yeah.
The Mark 23, I haven't. I've gone with the Maple Leaf and HP, but yeah, absolutely.
The only thing I've done in the last about 6 weeks or so was change the original hop rubber over to a one of the Maple Leaf ones. In fairness, I get so lost nowadays on exactly what it is. I know it's a Maple Leaf one. It's black. It's not one of those ones that's got a metal ring on it, so I don't think it's Delta or Autobot or whatever they're called. Yeah. And that was a nice little thing. That was a nice little thing, change that I made to that. Apart from that, no. It's ASG mags, one Marui mag, and that's it. It's just stock. Oh, and a load of camo tape.
Mandatory. Talking hot rubbers, I won't go into the full details because it's way beyond my expertise. But I had a really interesting chat with Sniper Mechanic this weekend when I was playing with him. And he's done a lot of stuff about hop rubbers recently, and we'll be putting some stuff out very shortly. So if you're interested into what hoppers you should have, I think he's got one pretty much down now, which he can recommend for pretty much any platform as a really good, if you just want to buy one and know that it's going to work. I can't say what brand it is because I've completely forgotten, and I don't want to get that one wrong.
Well, I've got news for you, Graham, because I've got a spectacular return to form. It's got Bodgeups written. No, it really doesn't. No.
I was like, this is what you wanted on the show, Bodgeups.
Yeah. What, this social media blackout thing? No, mate. No. I'm
Bodgeups returning with the Modifier 24 or something.
Oh yeah. We'll call it the.
I don't know if I'll buy a Bodgeups rifle. Really, that doesn't really send the same right ring to it.
The BDG 24 or something like
that. Mark's asking, do you own an AEG and what platform? You still got your
No, I don't have an AEG, so no,
Gas
I don't.
flow back?
No, I only have. So all I have at the minute is my VSR. Never going to get rid of that. But I'll let you guys guess what the name of it is. You know, because the rifle does have a name. But anyway, I'll let you guess on that one. I have that. I also have my Mark 23. I have a Marui High Kappa 4.3 as the gas blowback pistol that most people have. And then in the last 6 months, I bought a VFC M40A5, a gas sniper rifle. And
heavy.
I was a little bit surprised. In a way, I like going back to the VSR now because it feels so much like a paperweight, lifting that in comparison. But no, I don't have an AEG. I haven't owned an AEG in probably 5 years or so. Long old time.
I'll be honest.
I feel like I miss it.
I'm going to say I'm going back to AEGs next year. Just with all the Milsims coming up.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I need an AEG so I can be up front with the rest of the guys. It's nice and fun. But sometimes you just want to get deep and get kind of straight into action.
It's all in the mindset, you know. You put your mind to it. Hey, you're all right. You know what you're doing, Grant. You know, you take a sniper rifle up against hordes of AEG players.
I'd say not quite when you're in Longmoor and you're firing up a stairwell. It doesn't quite work the same.
I don't know. I mean, if you ricochet it off enough walls, that counts as the MEP, won't it?
You still feel the sting, surely. Ben's just saying, you're calling a few people out on the hit markers. I named it recently to someone. It feels like YouTube's become Airsoft, the video game. I think that's kind of really been the way those videos are going. Admittedly, it's because that's what people are watching, isn't it, really, at the end of the day?
Yeah, it comes back to what works for people. And that thing with the hit markers, right? That was, I said earlier on, that was like a big personal dilemma for me. That was, I think, one of the first things that I recognized as being a way to get people from outside of the Airsoft community, if you like, being interested in videos, because you just instantly recognize it. I mean, it's just pure and simple logic and math. The number of people playing computer games far outstrips the number of people playing Airsoft in the world, right? It's just a fact. And everybody knows what a hit marker is nowadays. So, put it in, you're obviously onto a surefire thing. But I've resisted it for ages because I wanted to hold on to this idea of it being I'm trying to show what it's like to do the Airsoft sniping experience. I'm not trying to show the real life version of Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever all those games are, But yeah, anyway, that was one of those things.
Before I go back to questions, what I want you to do, and I'm going to kind of do a bit of shilling here, let's put that straight in there. From tomorrow, you can buy the Airsoft Nation hoodie, finally. We've got 3 T-shirts coming out, and right now it's just a hoodie. This will basically help go towards supporting Airsoft Nation. As you can see, the price there, if you can see, it's $24.99. We're actually going to put an initial discount and deal on there. This will all be going through Weekend Warriors. And if you're registered on Airsoft Nation, you will receive an email tomorrow with a discount code if you're interested. So the first one is Airsoft Nation on the front. Here we go. With the Airsoft Nation logo, and on the back it's got warning, may spontaneously start talking about Airsoft, which I think is pretty much perfectly aligned with everything that I'm doing at the moment.
I wouldn't have thought that for a second, Graham.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key features for me on here, because I'm wearing this at work pretty much all the time at the moment, it's got a kangaroo pocket pouch so I can put my headphones on and nobody knows. He said, "Do you want one of these?" Yes, absolutely, I do want the pouch in there for the earphones. So emails will be going out tomorrow. Thank you everyone who supports Airsoft Nation. But like I say, there will be a discount coming out for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So just coming up to Christmas. So if you want to grab yourself one now, I'm looking at, I think, £20, £21, somewhere around about there. So thank you very much. And T-shirts will be available very shortly. And Bodge, I will show you some of those later because they're actually quite fun. I think you're going to like a couple of those ones. DS of politics is coming out inside me.
Oh, dear. No, we don't like politics around these.
Well,
we do.
Okay.
We don't. But we don't.
Lee's asking there. We get a lot of new players posting on our Facebook group, and you want to buy a sniper rifle. Would you recommend? Now, obviously, you're mainly a VSR user, so I don't know how much more you've used outside of that. Obviously, your circle of guys are all into sniping, and VSR tends to come out on top.
Well, would I recommend someone getting a sniper rifle as their first riff? Yeah, I would, because, well, yes, I would, and no, I wouldn't, because it's got the. If you know that if you've got a feeling like it's going to work for you, then you go ahead and do it. If you feel like you're the kind of person that might maybe give something a go and then get rid of it because it's not, you're not. It's such a difficult one to explain. I mean, back when I started, I know the answer that always floated around was no, don't get a sniper rifle. But that was because at the time, using sniper rifles in Airsoft was a very expensive thing. There were no upgraded, cheap guns. I mean, I'm talking about before Jing Gong even existed. There was no Bar 10. I'm actually talking about not quite before the VSR 10 existed, but there was a time when the only decent sniper rifles you could buy were made by Maruzen.
Maruzen.
The APS 2 and the APS 96, right? Now, I loved those when I had them. I was very much at the tail end of that, after what was probably 15 years of, my Airsoft peers using those. And people had to drop like £1,000 into a sniper rifle to get it to a good level. Then the VSR came along, and that was, a stock gun. You still had to drop hundreds and hundreds of pounds into upgrade parts to get it to being the 500 FPS, the equivalent of 500 FPS. You had to. So that's a natural barrier for people, and that's why a lot of people said no. Don't go down that route, because if you don't like it, then you've wasted a shed ton of money. Why don't you spend a couple of £100 on an M4 or an MP5 instead? But then you get all of these cheaper rifles coming out, and it's so much more throwaway nowadays, isn't it? Like, you can go and buy a rifle that will have a degree of power for you to just give it a go. So yeah, why not? If you want to get one that's, I keep kicking this table. If you want to get a rifle, a sniper rifle as your first gun, then yeah, do it. I am slightly biased. It also very much depends on your character. If you're someone that, if you like a relaxed, laid-back style of gameplay, and you've got the kind of site that will support that's near you, then maybe go down that route. If you've got a fast-paced skirmish-style site and you want to get into the action, get an AEG of some kind instead. Yeah.
Or Ben puts a great one out. Get your Mark 23. If you're interested in sniping, get yourself a Mark 23 and see how you go along. At the end of the day, you got the silence there, and you've had plenty of memorable times with the Mark 23 over the years. That's no doubt.
Oh yeah, I definitely have. It's the fun ones are when people walk up within a few feet of you and they don't even realise you're there. I've never had someone tread on me, but I don't know. I've never had someone tread on me, let's put it that way. But I have had close encounters where people don't spot where I am, and that's one of the fun things that I really do enjoy. Like if we're talking about where I am now in what I'm into, yes, I do enjoy the concealment side of things. I really do. It's very fun and very rewarding when you're doing something that's slow-paced over a long period of time and you get a real sense of achievement out of it. I mean, even to the point where you don't even fire a single shot. You know, I have had those. I've had those times in like the last 12 months or so where I've been through an entire experience and not fired at all.
Well, that's it. I mean, in October we played together at the Hunterian team tournament.
Yeah, the team tournament for the UK Hunterian Association up north in beautiful North Yorkshire. Very much enjoy going up there.
We did take a race on the way there.
Yeah. Well, no. We kept it below 70 miles an hour. Everything was very fine and legal, and and all that good stuff.
But it was a great weekend. Absolutely fantastic time. Intense, and I think I fired 3 shots the whole weekend. Even worse than that, I was the only player to get an AK or an AG, and I didn't get to fire a single shot. I was hoping I was going to have that advantage. But why don't you, in the last 5 minutes, talk about the hunting and what you're involved with now?
Yeah, so that has been my main focus for, I would say, ever since about, I'd say it's actually been about a year now since I started really talking to the guys in the UK Hunting Association. So years and years ago for me, when I was but a wee young in the airsoft world, long before I had an airsoft channel, I found a channel called Phantom TMA, and he ran an airsoft site, and he has a small group of guys up there who were always very, very interested. They moved on from airsoft skirmishing. They moved into a style of play called hunteering, which is, you could almost say it's not airsoft. Yes, you use airsoft riffs, but it's all laid back. Laid back, that's the totally wrong word. It's far more focused on the gameplay. It's far more focused on the... Graham, you still there? Because the camera's frozen.
I am still here, yes. I believe your camera is just frozen just right now, but we can hear you loud and clear. I'm just showing the hunting photo. Dropped. Can you hear me?
Graham, I can see your screen share, but I can't see you. I think your camera's frozen, so I'll go on the basis that we're still broadcasting. Hunting, what is it? It's a very, very, very niche style of gameplay where people use long bolt-action rifles. But it's not an airsoft skirmish at all. It's objective-based gameplay spread over a long period of time. So we could be talking 24 hours, 26, 28 hours. I know the guys in their past, like, I don't know, many, many years ago, like maybe 5, 6, 7 or 8 years ago, they were doing week-long events. I mean, can you imagine that? A week-long event where you are just invading each other across a patch of woodland. I mean, the concept was fascinating to me. The outdoor, the camping style of things, and that's actual camping, outdoor survival style experience, coupled with the idea of basically hunting each other on the land. There was something about that always really, really appealed to me back then. And ever since I stopped like skirmishing and whatnot, I thought, well, do you know what? I can see you now, Graham. You are back. I don't know if you can hear me. Ever since I quit the airsoft social side of things, I felt like that was the next thing that I always wanted to move on to. I literally have no idea if anyone's listening to this right now.
Can you hear me?
I haven't seen any comments flash up in a little while. Well, okay. I've just seen a comment from Ben. Do you have to pay for hunting? Well, it's an association, Ben. So yes, they are a club. Okay, they have their own skirmish site, privately run, own insurance. Full insurance. It's an association of like-minded individuals who want to encourage the certain style of gameplay. So you go onto Facebook. They have a Facebook group called Hunteering. Search for them, and you will find a plethora of information about what Hunteering actually is. Phantom still regularly uploads videos about the experience of what Hunteering is, which he does so in 4K beauty because he's got one of those Mavic drones of some kind. He's really good with that, actually. it's if you are looking for something that is not airsoft, if you're looking for something that's more than that is so much more than a skirmish, it's challenging, it's rewarding but tough at the same time, then it's something to look into. It's trust me, I don't get a commission for this, Mike. I've just seen your comment there, the package holiday. No, I don't get commission for it, but I am very passionate about it because those guys were an inspiration to me. That's the thing. I was watching their videos years and years ago. In many ways, they inspired me to get into airsoft sniping. So if any of you guys like me, go and pay some well-earned respect to those guys, because if it wasn't for them, then I might not be here. So there is that. Yeah, I just feel like I've moved in a totally different direction now, and I'm very happy for it as well.
And I will just mute Bodgeups because I believe there's a slight audio issue at the moment, and it is the last few minutes of the show. So I just wanted to show now. Let's move Bodgeups out of the way. There we go. And there we go. So if you are interested at all into looking into the hunting, which is what Bodgeups talking about, just head over to the hunting page. As I showed earlier, there's a great photo from the weekend there over in October. And Bodgeups is one of the guys, I believe he's the guy behind me there. But yeah, definitely, if you're interested, take a look over at the hunting page on Facebook. With that, guys, unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show. Thank you very much for watching, if you've made it through this far, and big thanks to Bodgeups, who unfortunately he seemed to freeze in the last few minutes and something happened with his camera. But I do hope you enjoyed the show. It was great to see Bodgeups and for him to kind of open up and talk about YouTube and to see what he's still doing. I know I'll be looking forward to playing with him again because we always have good fun when we're there. And no doubt, if you are heading to the UK versus USA game in May, he should see you there, and I'll definitely be there. Until then, next week we have a Random Trashy on the show, and that is the one before the finale. So we've got 2 more shows to go. So we've got Random Trashy next week, and then we'll have the season finale the week after, which leads us all the way up to the 18th of December before Christmas. So I hope to see you on there. I think Bodgeups just coming out. I hope to see you next week on Monday. Like I say, everyone who's registered on Airsoft Nation will get an email regarding the t-shirt, the hoodie tomorrow, and a discount code included. And let's bring Bodgeups on just to say goodbye. Good time in there.
Am I back?
You are back. You seem to freeze up. So
man.
We are just going through the goodbyes. I've just highlighted the hunting page. Bodge, if there's any final words you'd like to say, and I have said already that hopefully we'll see you at the UK versus USA game.
Yeah, I may well turn up to that just because it's so close. Final words. Blimey, final words. Be yourself in Airsoft. Don't try to be. I'm thinking about all the people that ask me questions about what it's like to run a YouTube channel and how would you get started and whatnot. But be yourself. Don't. This is going to sound really weird, and it's going to sound hypocritical considering what I did. Thank you very much, Van, if you ever listen. But be yourself and don't copy others, because it's all about you. People like people. It's why I think Dayton's done so well. People watch people. The rest of the subject matter just comes along with it. So if you come across as being a lovely, likable person, then the rest of the content will just come with it. So be yourself, don't copy others, and give it a go.
Fantastic. Well, Bodge, thank you once again for coming on the show, and it's great to see you.
Yeah, quite enjoyed it, actually.
I know that I'll see you on the field again, and we'll have to get you back on the show. Guys, have a great week. I will see you next Monday. Don't forget, sign up to airsoftnation.co.uk, download the app, and I hope to see you on there soon. Bye.
See you later.